Literally, fuck off. Literally, fuck off. Literally, fuck off. Literally, fuck off. Literally, fuck off.
Yo. What's up? Brenna says my monthly check-in. I've been busy with school. What's up, Brenna? Yeah, I mean, focus on your studies. Third grade's tough. I feel like that's the kind of pivot point. Let me thank all the subs. Is today resub day? Or was it one of the days I was gone? Certainly seems like a resub day. What's up, Nizer Bees, Allie, Underbreast Sweat, Chiara, Anita Butita, Katie, Corin, Brenna, Lexi, Jerry Bob, Indow. What's going on? Rune, Queen, how are you? Sub days are around the 19th. Oh, God. No, okay, I can't be right. Should have been 6 days. Think about you. Indeo. Indeo, have you been telling me this the whole time? Or have you just, like, bided your time? Because I pronounced it Indow for 18 months now, and I feel bad. But Indeo. Got it. Indeo. Gotcha. I just let it go, LOL. Don't do that. Advocate for yourself. Indow. This is a test. Correct me. Sup, the Nick City. Hopefully our apartment is Nick's City right now. I like your one curls perfectly in the middle of your forehead. Yeah, I saw it, and I was like, this works. Perfect spring. Head giving slinky dog. But what's up? It's been a minute since I streamed. You guys have probably seen me on some lives and stuff. I've been booling out there. Clark Kent maxing. But yeah, so I was busy a couple of days. Was driving down, or I guess driving to the left, driving west to Lawton, Oklahoma. Met up with Quinn, did some stuff there, and then we drove down to Arlington, hung out with Kat and Alex. Did Six Flags, drove back. Not too much, just kind of hanging out. But I'm back, and I'm glad to be back. I'm only back for a few days. I'm going to Durham soon to hang out with real-life friends, which I guess these people are real-life friends now, but, feels like there's a distinction, Balloon horses, it's all speculative, okay? Yeah, I did the Texas Giant. It was the first one. America was... I don't want to put America on blast here, because I genuinely felt horrible about this. The entire time going up to the ride, she was, like, very nervous and, like, hesitant to do it. And I was encouraging her. I'm like, look, just do this one, and then after that, you'll know if you actually want to do rides today. I just feel like you'll feel so depleted and lame if you don't do any of them, and you're going to leave disappointed. So, like, even if you do it and you don't like it, I feel like you'll feel better at the end. And then we're, like, in the train car, or, the roller coaster car, and she just is, like, crying. And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm a horrible boyfriend. I'm like that guy from The Bachelor who was, like, forcing Jen to skydive even though she didn't want to. But then she was smiling at the end of the ride, so I was like, okay, I made the right call. But I was sweating for a second. And then we drank a little bit, and any inhibition was gone with the rides. She was zooming. How long are you in Durham for? I think it's like Wednesday, probably like Thursday to like Sunday or something. Not too long. It's like a weekend. JPR, thanks for the gifty. I appreciate it. 5 away from 200. I'm not going to put you on blast like that, but I appreciate it. Matt and MJ, are you answering best or worst? Because they will be discussed. I'm excited for this stream. Next stream we do will, I think, be writing my comedy set for the cruise, which should be fun. Are you driving? Yes. Will and Shannon. I will say I arbitrarily drew a line of like, I'm only discussing showmances post season 16 unless they're like really important. Just because there's too many ones that I would be talking out of my ass about. Like, I just can't, like, I can't talk about Drew and Diane, really. I just don't know. And Will and Shannon and, like, any of the season 4s. April and Ollie, even them, let's just, like, I don't know. Shane and Danielle Erasure. I could talk about them, I guess. You want me to throw in Shane and Danielle? I'm happy with that. You know, they seem, I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you where I would have placed them, but, I just felt like I had to draw a line somewhere because there's just too many showmances. And I just drew it at 16 because it feels like that's a distinct era in Big Brother, season 16 and on. Haven't we done a showmance ranking, or did I make that up? I'll tell you what, I haven't talked about most of these people, most of these showmances. So if you want to view it as like an updated showmance ranking, that's true, but I haven't talked about most of these people. So, also, who cares? I do everything twice. We're running out of content. Should I start doing Meridian review videos where it's like, who's the best 7th placer? And just talk about all of them? How many times is Nicole going to be in here? Look, we're not clowning on Nicole for that. It's nothing, she was just hanging out. Vic Hall wasn't a showman. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. I think it's a distinction I want to draw. Okay, do you guys just want to talk about it? A final juror ranking would be fun. I feel like we all know where we stand on that kind of thing, but let's do it. Best showmance is BB history. Okay, let's talk about what constitutes a showmance. Okay. So I did 2 lists. I made 2 lists here. And they're very different lists, but they're judging the same thing. So let's talk about how we're assessing a showmance. Do you have to actually be a showmance inside of the house? No, because that would just kind of not give us enough people to talk about. Anonymous, thanks for gifting 5 Subaru's. 5 subscripskis. I appreciate it. You like subscripskis? I'm trying to make it happen. Anyone I know got a sub? Nah, just randoms. All you randoms, pathetic. What's up, y'all? Knicks down 20. Well, they've had the lead the past couple games. That hasn't gone well, so maybe this is their vibe. Same as Shmoney, exactly. And Shmoney caught on. But again, thank you, Anonymous. I greatly appreciate the 5 gifted. You're crazy. 241. All right, it's a respectable number for the sub fall-off day. So, do you have to be in a showmance in the house for me to consider you? No. And the only reason is I now get to discuss people like Claire and Derek, who I want to talk about because I think they're interesting. So yeah, we're going to allow that. We have 2 lists. The first list is couples that are still together, and the second list is couples that are in the house. That, whether or not they lasted doesn't really matter. The distinction is like, you had to kind of be important enough and like be considered a showmance. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a hard and fast rule because I do talk about Memphis and Christmas at some point. But like Zakiya and Pauly were like a showmance. They were together basically their entire duration in the house, and then they get evicted. So that counts. Whereas something like Taylor and Joseph, I don't count that. Taylor and Monty even, like, yeah, it's a showmance by the end, but it just didn't, like, they were showmance for like a week. Like, I just don't, I kind of just excluded some. That was like, I don't want to talk about this. This feels weird. Christine and Cody, yeah, like, I I'm not including that either. Hayden and Nicole, I guess, would count, but like, I don't know. We have enough Nicole talk. I just don't feel like we need it. But that's kind of what I did. So we have two lists. The first one is just couples that are still together. The second one is opens up that field while still ranking the ones that are still together. Is Rat a showman? That was the easiest one to exclude. That wasn't even on the table. Okay, but are you guys ready to get into the list? I mean, you guys know me. I just like to yap. I could basically what we're rating, by the way, it's not about how likable they are, how their compatibility is, if you think they're in it for the long haul. We're trying to assess them as game players. It's a mixture of what we saw and the potential. I think some people we got to see play as showmances, whereas others we didn't. So that's something to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I just get into it. I counted 8 showmances that exist from Big Brother. Still to this day, they're still together. Did I miss any? I think it's 8. I'm pretty sure. Ooh, I forgot one. I gotta add it. Who do you guys think I forgot? Where would I rank them in this list of people? I'd probably rank them here. Yeah, seems right to me. So I count 9 now. Okay, that should be better, and that fixes everything, and now I have to copy this and throw them somewhere down here. I probably put them like... probably here, I guess. Okay. Anyways, we're back. All right, let's knock this out. Let's do it. Okay. Any predictions on who I think is the worst showmance strategically in Big Brother history? The two, combining their strategic acumen and their gameplay, in my opinion, of existing showmances, meaning they're still together, who do I think is the worst? Thanks, Anonymous, for gifting a dog, by the way. I appreciate that. And Tom, thanks for the 17 months. Yeah, the Latin trip is good. But thanks, Anonymous. Well, at number 9, I have Matt and MJ. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. Like, I think Matt, in terms of first boots, is like one of the worst first boots. He's definitely not like, ooh, he had a lot of potential if he stayed. And MJ probably has one of the worst runner-up games we've seen. Let's talk about the pros. First of all, I think Matt gets pretty unlucky with Angela winning that HOH and blowing up on him the way he did. He didn't play it very well, but like, that's not going to happen on most seasons. A lot of times he'll just end up in a majority alliance and then maybe get cut like early jury or right before jury or something like that. I don't know if he's a first boot most of the time, but I do think it's on the board a lot of the time. And I think MJ is probably right behind him in terms of like is probably an early boot on most seasons, and she was very close to being an early boot on season 26 like several times. The pros are both of them are very physical. We didn't get to see Matt really playing too many comps, but you'd expect him to be a very strong competitor. And MJ proved herself to be a legitimate comp beast, no questions asked. Like she's in that category, and that's huge. And MJ, plays very hard. Matt plays very hard to his credit. It's just they both are kind of like socially unaware in the context of Big Brother, where like MJ never really knew who to align with, and Matt had some like delusions of grandeur in terms of like the position he was in and who wanted to work with him and things like that. And obviously the way he locked down that storage room, no one does it like him, But thank you, Feeling Hella Rare. What's up? Or Feelin' Hella Rare. Sorry, I put a G on it. Not chaotic. It's kind of a mix. I just think like if you just do people who are together in the house and are still together, there's like no one. There's like 4 or 5 showmances max. So I think they're pretty distinctively the worst. Definitely not my least favorite. I like Matt and MJ. I think there's a lot of couples that I think less of. But I think in terms of players, it's hard to find like things to cheer on. Basically, it's like they're both pretty good at comps. MJ is a beast, and MJ placed really well. Is kind of the major notes you'd say, and they're both active, which I like. Okay, do you guys have suspicions about who I chose as my number 8 showmance? I see a lot of Jody people, Jessica and Cody. Jessica and Cody. Cody, Jessica. Jessica, Cody. I haven't seen anything other than Jessica and Cody. And it's them. Jessica and Cody. Definitely my least favorite showmance to ever exist. I don't think that's close. Okay, how do we talk about the pros? Both very good at comps. Cody especially. You know, he goes out second, I believe, on Big Brother 19. And then, you know, comes back via a battle back. And it's a pretty impressive battle back. Like, he has to beat like 4 people. And he does. And their games outside of that are pretty terrible. I mean, Jessica had an HOH, and they got rid of Ramses, which is kind of rough. That's, you know, like infamously bad as an HOH. It was almost like a miracle that they even had someone like Ramses to target. Like, everyone was in Paul's power structure. Every single person in the house, and they pinpointed the one person who wasn't and then targeted him. The only worst choice would be to target each other. Did I miss Zanky? Not quite. It'll come up later. Didn't they target Josh? Yeah, sure. No, they targeted Josh, but like Ramsey's on the block. Like, what do you, what do you want to do? Like, you don't put up someone who you're not willing to see go home. They do better if Paul wasn't on BB19. I think it's very possible that Jessica and Cody and Mark and Elena and, you know, Matt and Raven would just like majority alliance comp beast their way to a pretty deep placement in the game without Paul. But like, we only saw with Paul, and with Paul, they were terrible. I want to acknowledge that like the Paul twist was ridiculously unfair. Cody was probably the most screwed in the house by it, especially with that first week trying to backdoor Paul, which granted would have not worked. I'm sorry. Like, I think people always try to convince me, oh, Paul's on the block. No one's going to miss that shot. Like, you got to take out the vet while you can't. No one would have voted out Paul. Like, but Paul would have stayed against who was it, like Jillian or whoever else was on the block. So I think that's one part of it. So like, Cody got screwed, but also I have no faith. We saw a lot of Cody, and Jessica. I think a lot of people viewed as like having more potential, but like, where? I don't know. I didn't see it. I mean, she knows the game, which is good, and she was trying, which is good. She's good at comps. That's good, but like, she always aligned with the worst people, didn't make significant inroads. Cody comes back in the game. She wins HOH. That's kind of a disaster. Goes home before Cody. Like, I don't think there's much to praise about Jessica's game. She was okay socially once Cody left. She was trying to reintegrate, and she failed at reintegrating. And they did win the Amazing Race, but again, that's a Amazing Race ranking would be very different. But... and outside of the house, they suck, so I don't know what to say. They're just shitty people. Also, like, as much as they totally got, like, screwed by the Paul twist, you know, the pendant of protection, they also got fully fucking bailed out by getting an America's vote halting hex that just saved them for a week. Like, really, this showmance was evicted 4 times. It was like Cody first... then they halting hex saved themselves. Then it was Jessica. Then it was Cody again. Like, how many rounds did they actually survive? Like 3 total, where it wasn't just one of them being evicted or an eviction being canceled. Sure, they had no chance at that point. No, I understand. But, like, I guess the point is, like, we have a more of a sample size with them than we do most one-time players. Like, they had a couple shots at it. What's up, Michael? AFP winner counts for something. Does it? Was Jess or Cody going during the halting hex? I think they were both on the block, right? I think it was them too. But yeah. So that's Jess and Cody. Number 8. It's honestly pretty remarkable. Like, the only reason they're above Matt and MJ is like Jessica's a better player than both of them by a lot. And I think Cody is competitive in the same, like with MJ, if he played as many comps. They're still big on Facebook. Of course they are. Look at them. Of course. Okay, any predictions for numero 7? For the uninducted. A lot of Swaley. Are you guys just going to predict every single one? I have Swaley. I'll be honest. I think these first 3 are like a tier of they're all pretty bad. Swaggy C has nothing redeeming about his game. He's charismatic and he plays hard. That's it. Other than that, he was like a totally delusional player. Wasn't particularly good at comps. Cowboy Nokomis, weirdo. He was just bad. Like, there's nothing really redeeming about him. Bailey, I think, showed more flashes. I think for the first kind of half of Big Brother 20, people viewed her as like the best player in Ffwd before Haley kind of took that reins. The problem with Bailey is like she's pretty prone to self-destructing in the game. Like I feel like she's played twice and both times she's kind of melted down. The Christmas thing I get, like Christmas sucks. In season 20, she like loses it on Tyler and it's a very weird situation and I don't know exactly where that came from. Rockstar Erasure? I don't think so. Which couple did you forget at the beginning? I'll call it out when I get to them. But yeah, Bailey played twice. We have a decent sample size. She makes the jury twice. That's good. Or does she make the jury in 22? She's right at the edge. But like, there's not that much. She's like a competent social player. She's competent physically. Strategically, she's not bad. She's not great, but she's not bad. I thought this was duos, not showmances. All right, you're forgiven. She did well on the challenge, Total Madness. Yeah, no, I saw. I just don't care, really. Last pre-jury in 22, right? So, like, she's played twice and plays okay in both of them, I guess. But these are the expanded juries. So, not making the jury means you got fucking 12th. And then she got 11th on 20. So, like, there's really, again, not a ton to praise. I think the reason I'd put them above the past 2 we've seen is, like, I think Bailey has a better social and strategic game than anyone else we've talked about. I think she's socially better than MJ, strategically better than MJ, socially better than Jessica, strategically better than Jessica. And Swaggy, for what it's worth, like, I don't know if Swaggy's worse than Matt or Cody. He's kind of probably the same. Probably worse than Cody, better than Matt. I don't know. Cody's terrible, though. He was really bad. I don't know. Swaggy could be the worst, but I think Bailey kind of carries this group to number 7, which, again, not saying too much. Number 8 and 9 are not exactly atop the strategic Mount Olympus of Big Brother. And he's a scammer. And he's a scammer, for sure. That is a part of it. Where are they living? What country right now? What are they doing? Has anyone signed up for his courses, his university? Swaggy got backdoored by his own alliance member. It happens. Are we finally openly calling out his scams? I've been open to doing it. What do you mean? I don't care. I've seen the CoffeeZilla videos. I'll tell you what, if he sent me an email being like, hey, can you play in this basketball game? I'm like, no, I don't think so. Hey, if he wants to call himself Swaggy to lose 80, I like that. That's fun. But outside of that. All right. Any predictions for number 6? Any theories? I know you guys love your theories. Julia and Liz. That's funny, but still gross. Now everyone's saying Danny and Dom, Danny and Dom, Danny and Dom. This list is a little bit anticlimactic. I have Danny and Dom, and I guess this is Tennessee, right? I'm not ranking Tennessee, to be fair. There's just not many pictures of them in the house together. But was 8 dead last? 9th was dead last. So this is the one I forgot. But this is a weird one to rank because Danny is we have so much information and data about Danny and so little about Dom, where it's like I'm basically just evaluating Danny herself. Let's talk about Dom first. I don't think he's a disaster. He's an earlier boot, but he was fine. He was good socially. He was just kind of taken out because he was a threat. Like, I don't remember exactly all the specifics about Dom's game, but it wasn't terrible. It was fine. So he's kind of like I think he's better than Swaggy, and I think he's better than Cody, and I think he's better than Matt. So I'll give him that. And then Danny's an interesting player to evaluate because, like, we've seen her play so much Big Brother, and there's so many things that are really good about her. She's right on the fringes of being a comp beast. She was a comp beast in 8 for sure, and then in 13 and 22, she was much, did not win nearly as much, but I would still say she's a comp beast. Dom's good at comps too. Strategically, she's there. She knows how to play. She knows what to do, especially in 13 and 22, but not always making the right choices. In 13, she went a little too aggro too early in the game and makes herself a huge target and gets evicted. In 22, she overcorrects and sticks too much with the majority alliance, and she eventually gets picked off in a similar spot. But there is something to be appreciated and respected about her placements. Like, she gets second on probably her least impressive season, then she gets like 8th and 7th or whatever it is on her next two. So she's like a very consistent performer. She's a triple threat. She's good socially, good strategically, good physically. I think the problem with Danny is like she had 3 tries and the best she's done is 7th. Like in my opinion, her best game was BB13, which is still kind of crazy. I know she got second, but that was a rough game, to be honest. Like I guess the point is, like, we've seen a big sample size and there's a lot of problems. But I do think she's a pretty good player. And she's kind of carrying the dead weight of Dom in this ranking. He seems like a great guy. But Dom just doesn't have much to talk about. Like, of everyone on this list, I have the least to say about him. I still don't know how the fuck Dick won over her. If you're bitter at 2 people, you're always going to give it to... Like, you're never going to reward the more passive person of the 2. You have more animosity towards them, is my experience with it. Second was that Porsche. I'm talking about Big Brother 8. Trippy. Yeah. I think they're number 6. I think the way I view it is like 7, 8, and 9 is a tier. 6, 5, and 4 is a tier, and then 3, 2, and 1 is a tier. I think. So who do you guys have at number 5? I see Derek and Claire, Brendan and Rachel, Cory and America, Austin and Liz. At number 5, I have Derek and Claire. Look, to be honest, do Derek and Claire have more potential than me and America? If we both played 1,000 seasons, maybe. I could see it. I think they're just like safer bets. They're just better at comps, especially Derek. And Derek wasn't a fan. You'd think he would learn the show more and do a lot better. I just think the problem is, like, because of their season, there's just not a lot of game to evaluate in terms of, like, the agency they had. Obviously, Claire bungles her HOH pretty bad, but, she's getting played by Tiffany, and Tiffany's a very, very strong player, so I don't hold that against Claire maybe as much as most. They're both triple threats in a lot of regards. Derek's great socially. He's a competent strategically, and he's very strong in comps. I think Claire has a great strategic mind. She's really good socially, and comps, she's not as good, but she's still capable. I think, like, in general, it's hard to poke, like, flaws in either of these people as players. In terms of the games we saw, there just wasn't enough there. Like, they never had control of the game and what was happening, and I understand why. Like, I'm not, I get it, for sure. I'll just say this. Next up is Me and America. The reason I have Me and America over Claire and Derek is, like, I think we are more of a... We've shown what we've got, I think, more so. Where Claire and Derek, like, it's more of a question mark. They're really good in The Amazing Race. I would bet they would do really well in Big Brother again. It's just like what was Claire's best move? What was Derek's best move? It's not all about that, but, like, if you were to write, like, an essay about all the good things I did in the game, all the good things America did in the game, all the good things Claire and Derek did, I just think these essays are, like, different lengths because 23 was just a really rough season. If they had been a couple during their BB season, do you think that would have made a difference? I mean, it might have made a difference in terms of, like, boot order, but probably not. They were still kind of in Tiffany and Hannah's sphere, and the cookout still dominates. But I think they're good. I think there's a huge gap between these 3 and these 3. I think we're all basically the same. But the reason I put myself in America above Derek and Claire, I think I played a much more active strategic role in our season. I think I had a lot more agency on the season. Obviously, comps ended up happening in the way they did, so that agency evaporated. And I think I'm probably a more flawed player than either of the two, but the highs are higher, the lows are lower, that kind of thing. And I think, like, when you look at, like, America versus Claire, I think a lot of people would, like, think Claire's, like, a better strategic player, but I don't know if Claire played a better strategic game, to be honest. I think America probably has her. It's pretty close at the worst. I think Claire definitely beats her in comp ability. But in the same way, like, I don't judge Claire's game too harshly because the nature of the cookout made it very hard for her to get anything done that season. I don't know what America's path is to do anything more substantial than what she did in the season. Like, she had a really rough draw of house guests, not to mention the whole playing with Suri and Jared of it all. You know, that disadvantaged everyone. So, like, you know, I just think there's so many pieces of context that you have to, like, consider when discussing every player, especially, I think, these two pairs. But yeah, you know. Also, I think what helps me in America is, like, we played as a showmance, which is kind of the spirit of this list. Whereas, like, Derek and Claire as a showmance would probably be fucking deadly. The reason why America and I were such a ineffective showmance, I guess, in the grand scheme of, like, Big Brother, was because we just couldn't win comps. Derek and Claire would be able to trade HOHs in a way that me and America never could. You know, we're just not good. We're not bad. Like, we'll get middle of the pack. If we have a weaker field, we could win some stuff. But not quite. Any predictions for number 3? Y'all about to be pissed. All right. At number 3, I got Brenchel. I don't know what event this is. Rob's a podcast 10-year anniversary. It's kind of fun. I've got Brenchel. Y'all about to hate my list. Hey, Rachel can't be pissed, okay? I called Rachel the ultimate mother in Big Brother history, okay? I think when you're comparing them, and I see a lot of your criticisms is Jeff and Jordan, I think Brendan, like, is a pretty clear weak link of this, like, these 6 players: Rachel, Brendan, Nicole, Victor, Jeff, Jordan. Like, I think Brendan and Victor are probably in the same boat. Brendan in season 12 makes a good run. He's extremely good at comps, as is Rachel, of course. On season 13, there's really nothing to praise about Brendan's game. Like, granted, he's been with Rachel for a year, so he's doing the self-sacrificing thing, which, like, I understand. But it's like, what am I supposed to evaluate? And then everyone knows, like, Rachel's season 12 game was what it was. Like, it was fun, but it wasn't exactly, you know, a strategic, there's a word for it, tour de force, you know, whereas in season 13, she ends up winning, and I think it's a, like, impressive game in the grand scheme of Big Brother, not in terms of, like, winning games, but of course there's some asterisks there that are well established and commonly discussed. Duos twist, Golden Key, Brendan coming back. There's a lot there. Her getting to play the same competition she already won again. Like, so I think, like, of the 3 remaining couples, everyone's got a winning game. I think Rachel has the weakest winning game and also probably the weakest first game of all of them. So I actually think this is pretty not debatable. Like, I think this is pretty distinctly, like, they're better than us and they're worse than whoever's after them. Rachel also gets 10th if they don't announce the battle back. Kind of, yeah, right. So, like, that's another layer to it. But the main pros for them, they've got a pretty good resume. Both of them have made deep runs. Brendan got, I think, 6th or 5th, and Rachel, of course, wins. It's pretty good. Neither of them have ever been out super, super early. I mean, Brendan was out pretty early but came back. But they're both comp beasts, like, genuinely, and I think that's a trend of all the remaining couples. They're all comp beasts, and that's what allows a huge targeted duo to get deeper into these seasons. Now, who do you guys think I have at number 2? I have these two. Can we talk about something? Okay, before you guys get mad, hey, stop it. Calm. I feel like Chris Pratt with the Raptors. Easy. Hey, easy. Doesn't Victor look a lot like Enzo from the Vampire Diaries? Does anyone else see it? It's almost unsettling to me how similar they look. Right? Like, it's weird. He does, right? Like, it's the same exact shape of face and everything. At least in season 5, when Enzo dies permanently for the rest of the show, which is where I'm at. America's still trying to convince me that he's gone. But, okay, let's talk about Victor and Nicole. So, Nicole's a top 10 player of all time. That's huge. I think the real question comes down to, like, does Victor drag down Nicole enough? Whereas Jeff and Jordan are both very competent players, very capable players, very good players. Like, I don't... Jeff and Victor are not comparable. Jeff is, like, 10 million times better than Victor. And certainly Nicole's a lot better than Jordan, but I think the gap is smaller for what it's worth. And in some ways, I think Nicole and Jordan are actually kind of similar, where, like, you have to give respect to the placements almost more so than you'd give respect to the games themselves. I mean, Jordan played twice, got first. I mean, you guys know. So Jordan played twice, got first and fourth. Nicole played 3 times, got first, seventh, and third. Like, while none of Nicole's games are, like, as impressive as, like, the elite players, there's a certain level of consistency that's very impressive. In the same way with Jordan, like, her winning game isn't crazy, her fourth place game isn't crazy, but it's pretty impressive. You played twice, you made it to day, you know, the third to last day every time, at least. And no, I don't give a fuck about reindeer games. She's not a 2-time winner. I think it's ridiculous. Come on. Like, absolutely not. I think I count it insofar as, like, it gives Nicole, like, I expect Nicole to be better at comps in a future season. Like, she's clearly a strong competitor when the comps are equitable. Like, she's solid, which I will give her credit for. That's real. But, again, the main reason why I have these people at number 2 as opposed to Jeff and Jordan is, first of all, Jeff and Jordan did play as a showmance twice, which I think is, like, extremely difficult. And I understand Nicole played as a showmance twice as well. But, like, the fact that Jeff and Jordan made such deep runs as a duo twice, I think encapsulates the spirit of this list. Like, why were they able to get to the final 7 as a duo twice, final 5 as a duo once, and also, you know, actually pulling off one of these wins? I think it's extremely impressive. Whereas, like, Victor and Nicole were targeting each other. I mean, Nicole voted to evict Victor a million times, and Victor gave his vote to Paul at the end. So it's just kind of like, you know, I think there is, when we're ranking showmances, I don't exactly want to fully detach the games and just, like, add them all up and evaluate. Victor, the pros and cons, he's a comp beast, you know, 1-2 battle backs, both pretty physical battle backs, to be fair. He did do, you know, the old school BB19 battle back style, BB18, where he had to beat a lot of people, which is pretty impressive. But on all of his HOHs, like, he never was able to reintegrate into the house, like, to the nth degree. Like, everyone liked him. He was never ostracized. He was just so obviously a threat, and he was always going to be targeted. The thing with Victor is he gets to the final 6, and, like, he could win that season a lot of times if he just, you know, comps work out a little bit better. Paul wins a few more. Victor wins a few more. But it doesn't happen. And, like, he got voted out 3 times. He would have been voted out a 4th time if he came back again. It's not like Victor's a great player. I don't think he's as bad as, like, the number of evictions makes him look, but he's not great, especially compared to these other players we're talking about. Nicole's great. I don't know if there's too much disagreement about Nicole. Like, she is what she is. I have her probably as, like, the 6th best player of all time, 6th or 7th, depending on the day. But, yeah, Victor and Nicole. At number 1, I got Jeff and Jordan. They played 2 seasons. They played 11 and 13, so in very close proximity. They made it deep every time. I think Jeff, because a lot of people don't like him for very fair reasons. I don't really like the guy, to be honest. I think people underrate his game. He kind of runs both of the seasons he's on and has a shitload of win equity and has a lot of comp ability. Like, there's a lot of worlds where Jeff Schroeder is like a Boston Rob type winner. Not in terms of being that good at the game or that dominant, but like, okay, Jeff finally things fell the right way and he won. Like, he's a good player, and he's good at getting people to, like, form around him. He's got a good gravity. He's excellent at competitions. He doesn't boof up his HOHs too often. The problem is his threat management is always pretty rough. He makes it work in 11, gets very close to that win. And then in 13, again, it's... I have a lot of empathy for, I guess, Jeff and Brendan in BB13, because, like, if you simulate that season 1,000 times, I don't know if they ever outplace their significant others. Like, what has to happen? Like, Jeff wins a veto when he's on the block against Jordan, but then, like, does he even use it on himself? Because it's a real-life relationship on the outside. It's why, like, I don't criticize Boston Rob at all for taking Amber to the final two when he could have beaten Jenna. It's like, y'all got engaged and had kids. Like, you made the right call. And, you know, I'm not going to criticize Brendan for laying down the sword and letting Rachel stay when they're still together with kids. Like, I wouldn't do that. I don't think America would want me to do that, but, like, I get it. It's outside of the context of the game. Like, exactly, Mountain Doofus. Jordan doesn't win without the coup d'etat. The coup d'etat was pretty early. Like, it's like Jag coming back. Like, we have so much game to evaluate after the fact. Like, you don't know how things go, right? Jordan said she came back for Jeff, so she sacks for him. Well, that didn't happen. But in general, they're both just very solid players. They're both good competitors. I think Jordan's a little bit underrated in that department. Jeff had a ton of win equity both times. Jordan had a ton of win equity both times. She got close to being a 2-time winner, which is hilarious. And there's just not that much to criticize. Like, Jeff's threat management and Jordan's passivity is probably, like, what you'd criticize. But, like, every other couple we talked about has much bigger flaws. Jeff said Dumbledore can't be gay. Till woke J.K. Rowling disagreed. Messed up. Okay. Now, in my opinion, we get to talk about a much more fun list. So, every couple that I just talked about is included in this next list. But I also added a lot of our favorite showmances from across the years, just to try to talk about them within the context of Big Brother. So on this list, I believe I have 19 or 20. I believe I have 19 or 20 people. I'm going to ask for predictions. Again, we started post BB 16 or 16 and on. I might have forgotten one or two, but it's fine. We're just talking. Who's the one you forgot? It was Danny and Dom. I didn't forget them. I just, for some reason, slipped my mind when I was making the list. Are these broken up showmances? Well, there's only, if you're not together, you're broken up. It's one of two categories. So, coming in at dead last, in my opinion, the worst showmance in Big Brother history, or at least, you know, in the context or in the time frame we're talking about. I've got Maven. I have Maven. Yeah, Jeremy and Caitlin. Thank God I started at 16 arbitrarily. Who's the better player between the two? Who's better? I don't know. It's a really interesting question. Raven, honestly. Probably. I don't know. Like, I think Matt probably would be better at comps, but I don't have much evidence for that. I don't think he might have won a veto. Race the bottom. Yeah, like, both of them delusional, both total Paul minions. When they find out they're Paul minions, they don't believe it. They're fighting with other house guests for no reason. Both of them had no chance in front of a jury. Neither of them was particularly good at comps. Raven was actually kind of strategic. She was active. I'll give her that. She was an active strategic player. Her strategy was terrible, but that's okay. She makes it farther, though. But Jane, like, that always happens. Like, okay, let's actually do a bit of an experiment. Okay. When did the man go out second? Okay. MJ lasted longer than Matt. Cody lasted longer than Jessica, but I don't care. That doesn't count. Cody went out first. That's what happened, okay? So Cody goes out first. Swaggy goes out first. Dom goes out first. Who goes out first here? It's Derek first, right? It's Derek, then Claire. I think they're like right one after another. I go out first. Rachel goes out first once, and then Derek or Brendan goes out first twice in the next season. Victor goes out first, second, and third. And then Jeff goes out first both times. Like, again, credit to the ladies in these showmances, but that's just how it works. Which is why if America and I came back on Big Brother 27, I would go out first. The only time it wouldn't happen is if I sneak in a veto somewhere. I win a veto when America's on the block, or it's the final four and I have HOH or something. Like, being a guy in a showmance is not the play, frankly. So getting in a showmance as a man is objectively a bad move. It's situational, but I think as a rule of thumb, yeah. Diane as well, that's true. But again, it's the final three. Like, if the house is deciding, they'll always pick the guy, regardless of who the better player is or anything else. But yeah, so Matt and Raven, there's nothing redeemable about either of their games. They're both terrible. I think they both provided some fun. Not in terms of actually being fun, but like, to this day, I think they're both kind of discussed more than a lot of other players. Do you guys have a prediction for number 18? Which is why women try to get in showmances, meat shields. I don't think that's why they try to get in showmances, but I think it's a byproduct. I forgot about Nick and Bella. They would be right around here for sure. I'll give you guys Nick and Bella. Hey, that's on me. They're terrible. I do think they'd be better than Maven, but worse than everyone else. Coming in at number 18, I have Tubina, which again, I don't want to talk about their breakup. That's sad. I wish they were still together. I mean, Tucker is one of the worst players ever. And Rubina, like, I don't know. I mean, these are, by the way, this is how I did this ranking. I considered flipping these two a few times. But, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not convinced Tucker's a lot better than Matt as a player. I think they're pretty similar. I think Tucker showed a lot more comp ability, and like he has more of a social gravity than Matt. So I think Tucker would win in that department very closely. Between Rubina and MJ, I mean, I think Rubina played a better game than MJ, I guess, but I think MJ is just a better player. Like, I think MJ wins way more seasons than Rubina. I think Rubina is more similar to like Matt than she is to someone else. Like, there just really wasn't like a ton of game there. I think she showed flashes of like being able to do things well. Like, socially, she's fine. She's pretty good. She got some people to like her. And strategically, like, she's a pretty good liar, but she's just really played super passively, and that's just kind of how it is. And Tucker is the opposite of passive. He's just like actively self-destructive. So if you want to like flip-flop these two, that's fine. Literally, the way I do it is like, okay, MJ's comp ability is what saves her. She plays hard and wins comps and uses vetoes on herself. Which Tucker plays hard, wins comps, and uses veto on other people. So, like, that's basically it. I mean, when I'm saying it out loud, like, I don't know. Like, they're probably better than Matt and MJ, but it's really fucking close. Like, this is splitting hairs. I think what's maybe the reason I view Tucker's game so critically is like, of these four players, I think he does, I don't even want to say have the most potential, but he has the most tools to be a really good player. And it felt like there was a path for him to get really deep in the game. But like, I think that's the whole point about Tucker. He's always going to destroy his own chances of winning the game. So it's not like, oh, if only he didn't do X, Y, and Z, he could have won. Like, I think that's who he is. And the quitting is a problem. Like, you shouldn't quit the game or want to quit the game. And Matt didn't volunteer for the block. Like, you know, I think really, like, Matt and Tucker are the same to me. They're just both, like, bottom tier. And then Rubina versus MJ, I'm just always going to favor the more active player. That's just how I am. But if you want to flip-flop these two, that's fine. I don't have a strong opinion on it. Tucker could have been a good player, but exactly. Any predictions on number 16? I see Mark Lena is a prediction. Annalise and Jack, Jared and Blue. I have Jessica and Cody. Y'all forgot about them? I think Mark and Elena are head and shoulders better than Jessica and Cody. I think Jack and Annalise, I think, are better than Jessica and Cody. To be honest. Like, they're just terrible. We already talked about them. I don't have much more to say. It's just like, they're terrible. Cody was out second. Jessica also went out pre-jury. Cody weaseled into jury because of a battle back and was the first juror. It's just terrible. It's not. There's really nothing to... And I'm biased against them, so I'm not going to rank them higher. Like, whatever. But anyways, any predictions on number 15? Were you a fan of Cody during the show? I enjoyed his, like, diary room stuff. I thought it was a funny concept and a funny bit to be just super dry. I thought he was a very funny character, but, I mean, even during the show, he was a jackass he was being transphobic, like, you know, on the feeds. It wasn't like a new thing after the show. Oh, man, Cody sucks. No way. At number 15, I have Swaley. We already talked about them. And I think a lot of people would be like, really? They're this bad? I just don't exactly know the argument for Bailey, like, being a good player or, like, an average player. She's pretty bad. You know, and Swaggy's as bad as anyone on this list. Like, and I don't, you know, I don't like him very much, so a little biased. But I think Bailey making 2, not deep runs, but like okay runs, I guess, just gives me more faith that she could, like, do okay on a normal season compared to everyone else above. What did they do? Swaggy's just a scammer. Like, he's a scam artist. But I think you could kind of tell the second he walked into the house, like, the vibes and the shirt and everything. But yeah. And Bailey, I think, is a self-destructive player, which is, you know, that's rough. If she was just able to, like, play a little bit more tactfully, passively, whatever word you want to use. She's way too emotional. I mean, I don't like using that as a detraction against her, because, like, first of all, there's a little sexism in there. I'm sure you don't mean it that way. Also, obviously, in BB20, she was dealing with a lot. Please help me understand the scammer bit. No, he literally just, like, does internet scams. Like, he tries to, like, get rich quick schemes and stuff. You know, Hustler University vibes, if you know what that is. Like 4x. Give me your money. I'm going to triple it. It's like, nah, probably not. But yeah, Bailey was dealing with a lot in BB20. I think a lot of you guys know the story, what was happening there. Like, I don't want to dunk on her too bad. Like, that's a lot. I didn't have to deal with anything like that in the house. But I just think, like, as a player, she comes back on 22. It's not like a much better performance. So, does anyone have predictions for number 14? Will we finally get to discuss a new showmance? Where's Matt and Riley? Not on this list. This is a showmance list. You might be confused. Kylissa? Oh, I forgot about Kylissa. Let me add Kylissa. I think they're worth discussing. Let me add Kylissa. Because they're better than a lot of people. There's so many showmances. Oh my god. I'd probably put them, like, here, I guess. Yeah, I think they'd be here. All right, number 14 predictions. I see Mark and Elena people. No, I hear you, Heather. I don't think you're wrong necessarily either. It's just I want to make sure we put some caveats in there. At number 14, I have Jack and Annalise. Did you forget Alyssa and Christian too? I did not forget them. I just didn't care to talk about it. Like, who cares? I don't have anything to say about them. So what's the pros to them? Like, they're like Jack's pretty good at comps. He was kind of running the house for a while. You know, he was in a dominant position. I think for a long time, people viewed him as like the better strategic player and at least the more active strategic player compared to Jackson. He also had more of a relationship with Christy. Like, Jack was the poster boy of that side of the house, and it gets him evicted, so that's bad. But, you know, he makes the jury, so, you know, already that's as good as Bailey's done. Obviously, there's a ton of, like, icky stuff with Jack. Dude sucks, basically. And I think that's, you know, that's why he would do poorly on most seasons. He's just a shitty person. Annalise, I just have nothing to say about. I thought she was pretty mean-spirited. Outside of that, she was wallpaper. But, like, being wallpaper is a lot better than a lot of people on this list, right? Like, she makes it to jury. They both, you know, have okay runs. They're both probably pretty good at comps, or competent at least. You know, Jack's decent. And they were in power positions for 90% of their time in the house. Things fall apart, but, you know. I just think compared to the people behind them, they just have better resumes, a better run. Annalise Loki had potential on the challenge. The saddest elimination I've ever seen. Her and Tommy. She got unlucky. Christy flipped the vote on her. Yeah, it was a little bit happenstance, but it's not like she did anything to stay. She was mean as hell. Yeah. I mean, that whole alliance was brutal to watch. Are Nick and Bella included? I forgot about them. Nick and Bella are worse than these two, I think. I mean, they're probably right behind them. They're very similar. Hateful. What about Nick and Kat? I'm not talking about the Kat stuff, the showmances. I just hung out with her. That'd be disrespectful. I do think her current boyfriend would be really good. Oh, Big Brother, though. Super likable guy. Shout-outs. Hopefully you guys are going to get to see him on screen one day. Okay, any predictions for number 13? I see Clay and Shelly, Joseph and his hand. Jared and Blue, Mark and Elena, Derek and Claire, Danny and Dom. At number 13, I have Jared and Blue. Okay. Obviously, I have a lot to say about these two. Played with these two. Had kind of sagas with both these people, too. All right, let's talk about Jared as a player first. I think Jared and Blue, the biggest pro I have for them is they play very hard. They are both very active players who try to better their positions, which is like a low bar to clear, but a lot of people don't clear it on this list. So that's good. They're both good at comps. Blue doesn't have like the resume to show that, but she was very good. She was competent. Maybe a little more than that. And Jared was good at comps. I actually don't give much credence to the Jared winning by default. I think that's kind of bullshit when people talk about that. I don't think that's a fair assessment at all. I mean, like the wall, he won straight up. I know he was on that thing, but I guarantee it was still hard for him to hang on. At the very least, he was one of the best people on the wall. Him winning that knockout comp, Odd Couples, like shit, that's how the comp works. Like, the other person answers wrong, you advance. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, did I win by default my comp because Suri answered wrong and then I advanced and then I got the other two right? So like, I don't really give that. And then like when it comes to Buddy Ball, he's the one who convinced Matt to give him the veto. Like, you guys weren't there. Like, they were sitting, you know, while Josh Duhamel was trying to remember his lines. Jared was talking to Matt the whole time. You know, like, if it was a player you guys liked, you'd give him credit for that. If that was me convincing Matt to give me the veto, I think you guys would praise me. So that's the thing about the Jared. Like, I think he is legitimately a good competitor. I think when it comes to the comps of like mixing mental with physical, he's much worse. Like the comps that Jag ran the table with at the end, I don't think he'd be good at all. But like the strictly physical comps, I think he's pretty good. And in quizzes, it's always a crapshoot, but he performed pretty well. Jared was also like, when he played well, he played well. He was able to make Riley feel super comfortable. He was able to, get in a really good position early. A ton of that is credited to Suri. Most of it's credit to Suri. But it's not to put down his actual achievements. He did get in family style and bring that information to Suri. And low-key, him telling Blue the secret about his mom was terrible. I would never make that decision myself, but it worked out, and it was the right move. Like, I don't know. It literally helped his game in every conceivable way. It had no negative effect, which is hilarious. Like, again, I don't think it was the right move. Like, he got lucky it didn't blow up in his face, but it did. The negatives about Jared is he's, like, terrible. Like, socially, he ostracizes a tremendous amount of people. He just antagonized me for no reason, antagonized America for no reason. He gets 2 HOH wins, targets Cameron, which is a bad move on his second HOH. His first HOH, he targets Cameron again, fails, and they end up evicting Red, which is a really bad call. Like, I know Red was kind of targeting Jared, but obviously, like, that was a mistake. Suri had a hold on Jared, or on Red, rather. There's just, like, not a ton to praise about, like, Jared's game. It's except for the fact, like, when he's playing well, and he's pretty good at comps. It's kind of the gist. And then Blue plays really hard, is definitely a rat, like, which is not negative necessarily, but she was kind of ratting out the wrong people, for sure. Would you tell America if your mom's in the house? No. If you have a pre-existing relationship in the house, I think you would think less of your relationships in the house, at least in the moment of, like, okay, that relationship's real. This one's like a game thing. So I think I actually wouldn't have gotten as close to America at all. After the show, yeah, I'm sure. But Blue is pretty solid at comps. She plays really hard. She's got like decent survival instincts. Like she'll throw people under the bus. She tries to play the middle. She had some good ideas in moments. I wouldn't give her credit for getting me out really, but she contributed. I'd give her that. That's about it. I think Blue does well on a lot of seasons. Like, not like having a ton of win equity, but I don't think she's an early boot most of the time. She's too active and not really self-destructive. She's pretty self-destructive, but not on like a Jared level, not in a Swaggy level or Bailey. Like, she just kind of, shit talks a lot and doesn't really know how to trust, but for this placement on the list, I don't think it's that egregious. Blue is so underrated, like Queen. I wouldn't say that. She might be over-hated on some platforms because they just hate the kitty purr stuff. Like, if you don't want to like Blue, that's fine. There's a lot of reasons. If you don't like some of the shit talking or the comments, that's fine. Like, I'm good with Blue. I like Blue. I just think, like, if you hate her because the character she plays in the DR, it's like, just focus your energy on other things. Like, it's okay. Like, what are you going to do? Like, it's fine. A lot of players are kind of obnoxious in the DR. It's whatever. I feel like that, like, deep down is why most people on, like, Reddit hate Blue, which is kind of silly. Also, when people talk about overrated or underrated, I think people forget, like, the way that works is you have to consider how they're actually evaluated and rated. Like, when people say I'm super underrated or overrated, it's like, well, I think I'm actually properly rated. I think most people are like, it's pretty good. A lot of flaws. Some potential, maybe. Got unlucky, but also made a lot of mistakes. I think that's generally how I'm assessed. So, like, with that metric, I can't be overrated or underrated. Blue, like, I think people have a decent read on her as a player. I think it is what it is. Maybe they put down her comp ability more than they should. I think she's better than her stats would say. But that's about it. Kayla, I agree. Trust me, I'm with you there. That's, but I don't think that's why like most people dislike her, to be frank. Okay, number 12. Any predictions? Basically, I'm just giving them this ranking because they're both active and made it somewhat far. I don't think I'm talking about like Twitter, Shay. I'm talking more about like Reddit, to be honest. At number 12, I have Clelly. It's honestly mostly Clay's fault. Because Shelly, like, isn't very good, but, like, I don't know why. Like, she seems like she'd be pretty good. She's a very smart person. She's at the right, like, age for Big Brother, like, I think it was her low 30s. Like, that's a good time to play, and she seemed to have a good head in her shoulders. She was very competitive. She was good at comps. The problem with Shelly is, like, somehow her threat management was so bad. Because, like, to be, a woman of her stature, she's not, like, a muscular, hulking dude. To have that big of a target that early is kind of a problem. I understand a lot of that comes down to comps, which is good. But, like, it's not great from Shelly, right? And then Clay, after being with Shelly for, like, I don't know, what was it, 3 fucking weeks, tosses his game away for her. Whereas I think up to that point, people thought Clay was a pretty good player. Like, he was doing well in the house. He had some embarrassing moments for sure, but, like, he quit, essentially, in week 4 or 3. I think it was week 4. Like, that's pretty bad. Was it 6? Would actually be very interested in a Shelly return. I'd be down. Should have gotten the All-Stars call instead of Christmas. I would have loved that. If they do like a second chances, I'd be happy to see Shelly. Clay was the last pre-juror. I thought it was worse. But again, Clay was bad and gave up, and Shelly established herself as like the biggest threat in the house very early and was evicted, and it was not good. So that's my ranking for these two. I think if they went on another season, they could like Jackson and Holly their way to the end, potentially. But not that season. All right, who do we got next? Number 11. A lot of people have been saying Marlena for like every prediction. I have Zolly. Lisa B, are you here? Your faves. First of all, I don't like Polly. Second of all, so Polly, in a weird way, I think is an incredibly underrated player. I think Polly is like actually quite good at Big Brother. Like, I wouldn't say he's a good player, but he's closer to good than he is to bad. He ran the BB18 house, which had a lot of vets in it, and it was really him running the show. He was exceptional at comps. I think that's often forgotten. Like, if he gets into any of these end games, he probably goes on a comp run. He goes on the challenge and immediately establishes himself as a really strong competitor, which I don't think people expected. Thank you, Anonymous. I appreciate it. I've heard a lot about his pop the balloon stint. It seems crazy. But yeah, Paulie was good. Like, he ran the house, and then the house flips, and he gets evicted. But up until that point, he was doing a good job. Socially, he has capabilities. He's an extremely active player. A little bit self-destructive, but, I think it was more so people acting against him. Zakia, there's not, like, a ton to discuss. You gifted Lisa B. Thanks. Welcome, Lisa B. And I'm so sorry. I don't know if you heard. They did break up, unfortunately. Zakia, there's not that much to talk about. She was kind of slightly wallpaper, but she seemed nice. He was cringe on Vanderpump Villa. He's on all the shows, huh? But I don't think there's a ton to talk about with Zakia. I think mostly this ranking is like, damn, Paulie was actually kind of good, regardless of how annoying he is. She was not nice to Bridget. A lot of people were mean to Bridget. I wish Bridget wasn't so tied to Frank. I don't have Miranda ranked. I did 16 and on for the most part. Paulie also fucked both their games. Yeah, but like, I think Paulie's the reason Zakia was in a good position, and then Paulie was the reason Zakia was in a bad position. Like, it's kind of on him. And Paulie's a much better competitor. So, like, there's not an argument for, like, Zakia being better than Paulie. Would Paulie do well in a return? He could. I wouldn't love it, but I think he could. On the challenge, he's batshit crazy, but in Big Brother without alcohol, I think he probably, is similar to what he did on 18. I think Makranda, I'll tell you when, keep reminding me, I'll tell you where Makranda is, because they wouldn't be ranked yet. Okay, number 10, top 10, baby, predictions. It's gotta be Marlena, right? Surely it's Mark and Elena. Coming in at number 10. I have Mark and Elena. Okay. They're pretty good. I'm a big Mark sympathizer. I think Mark was actually pretty good. Better at comps than people remember. I think when it came to Paul's minions, Mark was probably the most locked in terms of like knowing what to do. He also had outside relationships. He had a thing with Dominique. I think Elena is probably underrated as well. Comparing her to the other like women on that cast, like Christmas, you could say is better, I guess, but like she's better than Jessica. She's better than Raven. Like she was a capable player with a good head on her shoulders. Ultimately, Paul targets them because they seem like the better players remaining, whereas like Maven and Alex and Whistlenut were just so bad. But I do think Mark was like a relatively capable player. After Elena leaves, he reintegrates into the house decently well. It's just like it doesn't matter at a certain point. It was kind of like when Cameron came back on our season. Like he didn't really have a chance because there's just no reason to evict anyone else. Like everyone else was so weak in competitions, it just made sense to get rid of Cameron. And on this season, like Paul had everyone so hypnotized that like Mark reintegrating well just didn't matter. He had a thing with Dominique. It wasn't like a showmance, but yeah, that was like a relationship. Votes Mark over Yvette in the DR. Hey, Yvette said the N-word in the house. I've heard enough. What do you want? Puya? Been a minute, Puya. How are you, man? I hope you guys are excited about some Mark and Elena discourse. I know you guys were hoping to find some on this day. I have great news. The Mark and Elena discourse is strong. I'm kind of like the last bastion of Marlena. Also, I found these two to be less despicable than the rest of the 19ers. I was pretty locked in that season on the feeds. So, I just kind of like him. I think Mark's pretty good at comps. I think he's a pretty underrated player. If he came back, I don't know if I'd want to see him play again, but I could see him doing okay. What's up, Yusef93? We're ranking all the showmances. Or most of the showmances. Or a lot of the showmances, at least. So, what's up, y'all? They're more likable than most in 19. I would agree. I thought Elena was funny, too. Any predictions for numero 9? I will say the next 3 people are ranked 9th. Because, like, I forgot some people, so I put them here. But I didn't want to fix all the numbering. Big Brother better at having lasting couples than The Bachelor. I think we're losing ground, unfortunately, with Tubina and Christmas in Memphis. I don't know if that's true anymore. At number 9, I've got Danny and Dom. We already talked about them. I don't have much more to say. It's just Danny carrying, and Dom is a nice guy. Then I have Austin and Liz. Okay. Austin and Liz. Austin's kind of good at Big Brother, y'all. I hate to say it. Austin's kind of good. Liz, of course, is a runner-up. I think less impressive of the two. Austin had much more win equity. Yeah, it didn't make much sense in the house. I didn't see a ton of chemistry between the two. But Austin gets extremely deep in the game. I think he gets to the final 6 with Liz and Julia, which is like, what the fuck? And he wins that season from that position probably like 40% of the time. Is that crazy? Like, I don't know. I think it's pretty unfortunate that they bungle it from that point. Yeah, Austin got 5th. Like, you don't let a guy like that get that deep in the game. But he has a ton of win equity, gets far, he's good at comps. Socially and strategically, he's a very active player. He was always in the majority. Worked very closely with Vanessa, very closely with the twins. Put himself in a winning position, and he lost. He got played by Vanessa. But again, like, even if Vanessa is playing him, I think a lot of the time he wins out anyways. Like, he wouldn't need, like, Vanessa wouldn't be able to trick him, because if he just wins like an extra veto, Vanessa's gone. So that's where I have Liz and Austin. Next up, I have the grainiest picture of Kylissa. I don't know. The more I think about it, I think they're better than them. I think Austin and Liz are better than Kyle and Alyssa. Like, Alyssa and Liz, I think, are the same player. These are all number 9. I just threw them in because I forgot them. Yeah, I think Austin and Liz are better than Kyle and Alyssa. I think Austin's better than Kyle, and Liz and Alyssa are the same. Kyle's a weird player. He played really well in BB24 till he imploded, which you hold against him because what the fuck, Kyle. Alyssa might be like a little overrated at this point. Like, I think she was what she was. But she gets pretty deep. Probably no win equity there, but she's like an amicable presence. She was less mean than other people in that house. I think she could do well on a lot of seasons, get pretty deep on a lot of seasons. But again, there's not a ton to talk about. Any number 8 predictions? I want to finish this so I can go watch the Knicks. Any Preds? I have DX and Claire. Did I forget to rank a certain showmance? I think I did. Yeah, I ranked them initially, and then that slide got deleted at some point. But Fessy and Haley would be like, I think they would be right here, right? Bro, just check the wiki. I made this pretty quickly, to be honest. I was late for book club. I think this feels right. Like, I think they're better than Mark and Elena. They're worse than Danny and Dom. Haley's... I did the Haley versus Danny comparison on the diary room. And I voted Danny at the end, but gun to my head, I think Haley's probably a better player. Number 8, I have DX and Claire. 7, I have me and America. I think most people would say they're better than us, which is fine. I'm a little biased for myself, perhaps. Number 6, any Preds? DX is so hot. You misspelled it. Cory is the actual spelling of that word. James and Natalie. I did create a rule where if there's restraining orders, I don't count them, except for Memphis and Christmas. At number 6, I have... Nice plug. Thank you, Cory. Was that the first diary room ever, Matt? First matchup? So cute. Are you guys almost in round 2? Number 6, I have Jackson and Holly. Look, they got a good resume. You can't ask much more from a showmance than get first and second. They're the only ones to do it. I think Jackson is probably, at this point, the most overrated winner in Big Brother history, frankly. I just think, like, people view him as, like, dominating the second half when he really wasn't and just comped out. I think he's quite a bad player. But he's okay. Like, he's bad in terms of, like, winners, but as a player, he's got some upside. He's a very great physical player, and strategically, he's got ideas, and socially, he gets some people to like him. He had a lot of allies. Obviously, he's kind of terrible to a lot of other people. He cheats a little bit, too. Holly, I don't know. What do you do with Holly? Like, Holly stays at the final 5 just due to Mickey's scheming. You know, she was dead in the water there and wasn't able to save herself. Only Jackson was. She's a very good competitor. She didn't really have any win equity. Like, they all didn't like Jackson and still voted for him over her. I think Holly's underrated. I think she might be the epitome of, like, underrated too much to the point where she's overrated. Kind of like Lisa. Like, I don't know if she's actually underrated. I think she kind of is what she is. Like, fine social player, fine strategic player, good at comps. It's pretty good. You know, like, she's good. I just don't know how, like how do people normally rate her? again, with that word, it's like, do people rate her super lowly? I don't think so. I think most people think she's fine. She's pretty good. Being 2 votes away from winning ain't bad. If Tommy and Christy thought differently, she wins. If, like, I mean, 2 votes. Like, what was the actual vote count? Was it 6-3, I guess? It's like, I guess she's close, right? She's way better than Nicole F. I disagree with that. That's a hot take. She had Jess, Kat, and Nicole. All right, they're real for that. I think this is fair. They're just both really good physically, and like this modern type of showmance would do really well on most seasons at this point. They could just trade HOHs. It's kind of tough to beat them. If you let them get to the final 8, it's kind of a wrap. Holly's really good socially. I remember her being fine socially, but when we get towards the end game, it's like Jackson's relationships that are really propelling them forward. It's Jackson's relationship with Cliff, more specifically, that's like the reason they're able to advance further in the game. When we had like Grateful and the 6 shooters and all that, I would say she was playing much better than Jackson, but towards the end game, it's really her, or it's really him that like makes it happen. If that makes sense. Number 5 predictions. We've already, you guys know 3 of the top 5 because we've already discussed them, but there's 2 others. Coming in at number 5, I have Brenchel. We already talked about them. At number 4, I have Miss. Look. I mean, I don't have a ton of respect for Christmas as a player. I don't think she's very good at all. I think Memphis is, like, pretty good. I just think they're both really competent players who both got deep both times they played. Both had a lot of win equity both times. I don't know how much win equity Christmas had in All-Stars 2. I don't think she had much. But Memphis had a lot. I just think this is the objective right call. I don't like both of them or either of them, but I just... Like, they played twice, and their worst placement is 6th across their duo. And, like, it's not like they're just coasting to the end. Christmas a little bit, but Memphis is playing pretty hard, pretty actively. He's really good at comps. He's the one who makes the, not the collective, the committee. Goes very deep. And them two getting to the final 6, they could win that season a lot of the time. Surprised Brenchel's lower. It's just, like... I think their resumes are quite a bit worse. Like, is Rachel's winning game in 13 much better than Memphis's losing game in 10? I think they're, like, maybe it's a little better, but it's not that crazy. Final 5, Tyler got 6th. Yeah, so Memphis got, what, like 2nd and 5th? Pretty crazy. Memphis loses unanimously, is that true? I don't want to relitigate the BB22 jury. I can't say I'm an expert, but. Number 3, any predictions? I'm going to get rid of the suspense. I have Victor and Nicole. Now, number 1, do I have Jeff and Jordan, or do I have Tangela? Now, look, here's the thing. If I did an all-time player ranking, who would I have higher, Tyler or Nicole? I'd have Nicole higher because I have respect for the resume. Who do I actually think is a better player? Tyler. And that's not really fair to Nicole, but I just think it's Tyler. So that's why I have these 2. And obviously, Angela, I think, is quite a bit... Wait a second. Is Angela much better than Victor? Angela's like a goat on 20, right? I disagree with my rankings. I'm going to fix it very quickly. I disagree with them. Yeah, I think they're worse. I think the problem is Angela's just not as good as... She's not very good at Big Brother. And Tyler's great, but, like, I don't think it's fair to overlook his flaws, and his flaws are so egregious. Of like he just kind of his first game, he screwed up the end game really bad. I think people sometimes overstate his bad jury management and how passive he got and lost focus. I don't care about that as much. I think his 20 game was really good. It was just his 22 game, like he imploded. Both seasons, he kind of had a propensity to just run out of gas, and I think it would happen again. But, you know, I don't think you can, like, just be like, if Tyler tries, he's better. Like, well, most players try. So that's what I'd say about Tyler. Number 2 is would be these two, so these are 2, and then number 1 would still be them. So I did have Tangela at 1 for a second, just because I have so much respect for Tyler. I think I was overestimating Angela by quite a bit. You know, I think that was my my dilemma. Hey, I'm always willing to accept I'm wrong. I'll speak very definitively about my opinions, but the second I change my mind, I'll come out and say it. He never had a returning player advantage like Nicole in 18. I think Big Brother 18 was the most fair returnee season they've ever done. First of all, the newbies they cast were kind of good. And also, like, they didn't have any advantages going in, the vets, outside of just being vets. The game format wasn't really rigged towards them. Boogie and Erica, they would be pretty good, to be honest. I think Boogie's a better player than most. But anyways, I thought it was just an interesting thought experiment. A lot of white people in my top 5, unfortunately. We got to bring that back. we got to fix that. Where would April and Ollie have fallen? I don't know. Fucking like 12 or 13. They were pretty bad. I think April might have some potential, maybe. I don't know. We were at number 7. Better than Derek and Claire, worse than Jackson and Holly. So many showmans you haven't talked about. Yeah, I didn't talk about any of them pre-15 or pre-16, really. Just because the list would get exhaustive and I would be talking out of my ass. Would you rather play with vets or newbies? Probably newbies. Even though, like, I don't think I would do very well with a ton of newbies. I think I'm too transparently scheming, and I don't think people would revere me the same way they revered, like, Paul. But I think with vets, there's just no collection of vets that I'd be in a good spot with. Unless they went old school, in which case it's like a level playing field. Apartment hunting going, it's heating up. But I'm gonna go watch the Knicks with America at the very end of this game. Is there anybody to raid? Is Quinn live?